What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is a take that Dirk Nowitzki just made today that is making its rounds across social media today. And it's a win for the Lediclics. It's a win for the Lediclics out there on social media. It's a win for the Lediclics that write articles, and it's a win for the Lediclics out there that are going to be chiming and chattering about this on their Twitters and on their Instagrams and on their programs tomorrow on ESPN and Fox Sports. And that is that one, Dirk Nowitzki, future Hall of Famer, the greatest Dallas Maverick of all time until, Luka may challenge him, but right now it's still Dirk. But anyway, Dirk said today in an interview that he is running out of arguments for Michael Jordan being the GOAT, and that when LeBron passes Kareem in scoring, that makes him, and that will make him, the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, let me just say this. Dirk Nowitzki is entitled to his opinion, just like anybody else. But I do find it strange that just back in 2019, Dirk said that Kobe was the greatest offensive force that he had ever seen. And then, of course, since Kobe's passing, people don't ask questions about Kobe because they're not pushing Kobe. They're trying to push a particular player, some kid from Akron. And even more damning than that, Dirk Nowitzki just last month on the Graham Bessinger show here on YouTube, just last month referred to Michael Jordan as the GOAT in a Q&A session. So sometimes you have to wonder if these guys are asked loaded questions just so that they could say something that some of these Lediclic reporters want them to say, so that it comes out, hey, see, he said, blah, blah, blah. Well, look, I'm just going to say this. I keep saying this all the time. Why is it that with LeBron passing Kareem, how does that make him better than Michael Jordan when Kareem was the all-time leading scorer? According to people today, he's not the GOAT. So if Kareem is not the GOAT for being the all-time leading scorer, which he's been in that role since 1984, then if he's not the GOAT, when LeBron is passing someone who's not the GOAT, how does that make him better than the guy that's already crowned the GOAT? Which means that Michael Jordan is considered the GOAT for something other than scoring, records, and longevity achievements and all of that. At the end of the day, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan for many different reasons. Now, I would say marketing is part of it, obviously, but with LeBron James, he is also equally marketed constantly today. He's the most heavily promoted athlete in basketball today still. Even past his prime. You know what I'm saying? Which to me is a bad thing. It's been a detriment to the NBA. But anyway, Michael Jordan showed a level of dominance that we had never quite seen in the NBA, in my opinion, since Wilt Chamberlain. Because I think you can make an argument that Wilt is the greatest offensive player and, during his era, one of the greatest defenders. But, they didn't have defensive first teams the entire career, for his entire career and all these other things. But Michael Jordan, 9 times First team all defense. 9 times. Had he never retired the first time, I'm pretty sure that number would have been 11 times first team all defense. And had he never retired the second time, that number probably would have been at least 12 times first team all defense. Probably at least 12. 12 times. There was a stretch in the NBA. I'd say 88 to 92. Maybe 93. Where Michael Jordan was not only the best offensive player in the NBA, but the most dangerous defensive player in the NBA. Now, when Michael came back out of retirement the first time, he was still a great defender, but I would say he slipped from being a top 3 defensive player in the NBA to being more around top 15. And then his last year in Chicago, I would say he was a top 25 defensive player in the NBA. But still, he would kill you on both sides of the basketball. LeBron, the only period of time where he consistently played defense was in Miami. And then when he went to Cleveland the second time, it started slipping. The first year, second year it started slipping. And then outside that bubble, I would say, and then, maybe some marquee games here or there, LeBron is not playing defense anymore because he has to conserve his energy for offense. Whereas with Michael Jordan, even during his Wizard years, he was still playing at a high level on both offense and defense. Now, by his Wizard years, I don't even know if Michael was a top 35 defender, top 40. But he still was playing at a high level on that side of the basketball, and he gave it all on both ends. And yeah, man, I just think that at the end of the day, when you're being fair and you're trying to, look at what actually made Michael the GOAT was the dominance that he displayed during his peak. 6 championships in a span of 8 years, and that includes a retirement. At one stretch, he was winning an MVP statistically every other year. Just completely decimated the NBA. Michael Jordan also had 39, when you include the playoffs, he had 39 career 50-point games. And of those 39 career 50-point games, 22 of those games came against top 10 rated defenses. Which means that unlike a lot of these bottom feeders who tend to prey on bad teams to pad their stats, Michael Jordan often brought his best game to the best competition. That's why when you look at his top 50-point games, they were like Cleveland, because Cleveland, guess what? Cleveland was the top during the 80s into 90s. That was their main competition, the Chicago Bulls. That was their main competition, the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's why more 50-point games came from Michael Jordan toward Cleveland than any other team. And then second on that list is the New York Knicks. Why? Because after Cleveland, the next challenge was none other than the New York Knicks. And Michael Jordan did what he could to pulverize them and remove them from existence. That's what he did. Most of his big games that I can think of came against the best teams in the NBA. He had multiple 50-point games against the Bucks in the 80s when they were the best team in the NBA not to make the finals in the 1980s. You think of the '86 Celtics, who won 67 ball games, perhaps the best front line in the history of the NBA. And here comes Mike dropping 63 on those motherfuckers. Before the Pistons devised a series of tactics to bully Michael Jordan and bully and pulverize him, Michael used to kill them on a yearly basis. 59 points on national television on CBS, 61-point game near the end of the 86-87 season. We already know the battles that he had with Dominique Wilkins. The point I'm making is Michael brought his A game when it mattered. LeBron, I'm not saying he didn't have some clutch performances, some clutch moments, but this is the guy that lost to Dwight Howard, a Magic team that was good, but they should have beaten. This is a guy that was ran from Cleveland when he couldn't beat the Boston Celtics. They had to form a big three. This is a guy, LeBron, who has two of the worst, most lopsided finals losses in the history of the NBA. The 2014 Spurs complete demolition of his Heat, and then in 2018 the Warriors massacred the Cavaliers in that finals. Then Michael Jordan benefited. I mean, there's just so many things I could just bring up out of the top of my head. Then let's not forget that LeBron benefited from 2012, I'd say, from 2012, when they finally went to the finals, to 2018, he benefited from the weakest 6-year stretch in the Eastern Conference, at least since the 1970s. At least. Even during Al Iverson's stretch, there were strong teams in the Eastern Conference. The strongest competition to the Miami Heat in the East were Paul George's Pacers and DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry's Raptors. Remember when people were comparing Lowry to Michael Jordan? That was his competition, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan had to go against the Boston Celtics, the Detroit Pistons, the Philadelphia 76ers. You know what I'm saying? Later on, the Cavaliers, Wilkins and Atlanta Hawks, and Reggie Miller's Pacers, the Knicks, Orlando Magic with Penny and Shaq, and so many different incarnations of the Knicks, and some strong young teams like the Chris Webber's Bullets and Sam Cassell and Sam Cassell and Kerry Kittles and all of them with the Nets, and Glenn Rice's Hornets, and just so many different teams, man, that actually posed a threat to the Chicago Bulls. But anyway, that's just a little taste, man. I could go further. I could just keep going on and on and on, but I don't want to make this video too long. Dirk is entitled to his opinion, but I get the feeling that Dirk, might have felt pressured to say something about LeBron, man. But it is what it is. Tell me what you guys think.